Hello! In today's video, we're going to be working on a solo baritone chord melody arrangement of Danny Boy. Now, this is actually my first baritone tutorial here on the channel, so if you want to see more baritone content, leave a comment down below. But let me go ahead and show you what this sounds like, bringing the camera down. This arrangement sounds something like this. Bringing the camera back up. This is a perfect lesson for anyone who's looking to start playing chord melody style on the baritone. It doesn't go too high up the fretboard, and it makes use of these beautiful bass notes that this instrument has that a typical high or low G ukulele just doesn't. So if you want to work on this and want to follow along with the tab, I've got a link to it right here on my Patreon page. Check that out, more at that on the end, but let's go ahead and dive in. Looks something like this now when I bring the camera back down with the tab on screen. So this is the first line of it. This is the pickup bar, measures 1 and 2. Should sound something like this. So now how to play this? Well, we're going to be using a lot of the 4th fret on the D string, this 4th string here. And so sometimes we play it with our pinky, other times we play it with our ring finger. In this particular part, we're going to play it with our ring finger. So ring finger there on the 4th fret of our 4th string. Go ahead and play that. And as far as the technique using to play, I'm using a technique that's called a rest stroke. I actually have a video of it linked right here that you can check out. But the gist of it is that I'm using my thumb to pluck a string and rest on the next one as I go through. Obviously, when I play the first string, there's no other string to rest on, but this technique allows the thumb to kind of bounce over it, creates a really warm, inviting sound that's perfect for this arrangement. So after I plucked the 4th fret here, I'm going to play the open on the 3rd string, and then the 2nd fret, I'm going to use my index finger there. And then going into this first full measure, I'm going to play this G chord by playing 0, 0, and 0 on my 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, using that rest stroke, so you see my thumb kind of stops on the 1st string there. Then I add the 2nd fret on my 3rd string again, using my index finger right here. And then I'm going to play the 3rd fret on the 4th string with my middle finger, taking the index finger off. I'm going to play through the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, stopping on the 1st string again. Then I'll play open on the 1st string. Then holding the shape, I'm going to add the ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, play that. Then open on that same string by taking the ring finger off. Going into the 2nd full measure here, when I play this C chord, I'm going to actually make my middle finger go down to 2. And now a C chord on a baritone looks like this. So you might be confused, well, why is it just 2 and 2? Well, it's a C chord for harmony. So if you're playing with somebody else, all of these chords that are written up top, that's just for accompaniment to be able to play along. In this case, we're going to take that middle finger that was on the 3rd fret of the 4th string, we're going to slide it down to the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Take the ring finger, add it in underneath on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. And tilting the fingernails kind of towards your shoulder can really help get the room to squeeze them in there. We do the rest stroke now over the 4th and 3rd strings. Then I'm going to play open on the 3rd string by taking the ring finger off. And then I'm going to play the 4th string all you're there with the 2nd fret. Then I'm going to play that full C chord that I mentioned before. 2, 0, 1, 0 with the middle finger here and the index finger here. Strum through all of them. And you'll notice these notes are in parentheses. Why is that? Well, it's a filler. It's meant to be played nice and soft. Then I'm going to play open on the 3rd string, open on the 2nd string, and 1st fret on the 2nd string with my index finger. So those 2 bars with the pickup should sound and look something like this. Going right into the next 3 bars, they're going to look something like this. So how we play these is we're going to start with this little G chord. Now we did just play the first fret here on the second string. Now we're going to play the third fret. I like to use my ring finger here on this third fret of that second string. Do the rest stroke on my fourth, third, and second strings, stopping on the first string here. Then we play open on the first string, 3, which is already there, then open on the second string, open on the third string, open on the second string again. So my fretting hand has been removed at this point, and that makes it easier when I go into this measure 4 to play this A minor chord. And the way I'm going to play that is with my middle and ring fingers on the second fret of the fourth string with the middle finger and the third string with the ring finger. We're going to play those two together. And then from there we have to pivot. Now you see these two fingers? They kind of jump down. They're both on the same fret, but they're switching strings. The middle finger goes to the second fret of the third string, and the ring finger goes to the second fret of the first string. So you can kind of just practice moving those there. And then to complete this D7, the index finger is going to go right here on the first fret of the second string. And these are in parentheses, so we strum it nice and soft. And then this is, I think, one of the hardest parts of the song. Going from this chord to the fourth fret of the fourth string of our D string here. What we got to do is we got to get comfortable starting to pivot towards it and releasing at the last possible minute for our pinky to come up and play that 4. If you can do this stretch, awesome. Don't feel like you have to, though. You just need to get as close as you can before taking them off so you get that resonance. And we're going to play the fourth fret, followed by the open fret on the second string, or a third string, excuse me, and then the second fret on that third string. And I like to just use my middle finger here because it was just there, right? And as we go now into the fifth measure, good news, the fifth measure should look very familiar because it's exactly the same as the first full measure of the tune. And so to play that, it's all open on the fourth, third, and second strings. Second fret on the third string with our index finger here, and then the middle finger comes up to the third fret of the fourth string. That's a cool little G7 to play with it. Then open on the first string, 3 on the second string with our ring finger, and then take that off again. So measure 5 is exactly the same as measure 1. So that you can hear it though, here's what these 3 measures sound like all together. Should be something like this. And going into the next 3 measures, the next 3 measures are going to sound something like this. So to play these measures, it starts off with some familiar stuff because measure 6 starts off exactly the same as measure 2. The same second fret on the fourth and third strings with your middle and ring fingers respectively. Doing that rest stroke stopping here, and then you can play the open, taking the middle finger off, and then the second fret of that fourth string again. And then we're going to play through this C chord, just like we did before. Same filler, right? It's in parentheses, so we play it nice and soft. But this is where the measure changes. We're going to play the fourth fret of the fourth string, and I like to use that pinky there. So see how it's kind of 1 finger per fret right now? That can help set us up for success with this, playing that pinky on the fourth fret. Then open on the third string, and then 2 on that same string. I like to use the middle finger there, keeping the 1 finger per fret for right now. Going in the 7th measure, play all open on the fourth, third, and second strings, stopping your thumb on the first string. Then we're going to play the first fret of the second string with our index finger here. Then we're going to play a D7. Well, the way that we do this is our middle finger here on the second fret of our third string. And we're going to strum through our fourth, third, and second string. Now, is this technically a D7? Not quite, but if somebody's playing harmony with you, have them play that D7 while you play the chord melody, and it works really well. So a lot of these chords are not the actual chord, but they're the functional harmony that's taking place when you want to play this chord melody. So after I've strummed through those, I'm then going to play the second fret on that third string again, and then open, and then 2 again, and then going right into the 8th measure, I take it off again and play open before playing this nice chord here, 0, 0, 3, 3. I like to use my ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, or excuse me, my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and my ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, right? So they're kind of stacked and tilted towards the shoulder. Then we play 3 on the 2nd string, which is already there. And then we play open on the 1st string. And it doesn't really matter what you play that with. Just, you know, you're going to play open, taking the fingers off. And then we're going to play 2. And the fret that I like, or the finger I like to use on this fret is my middle finger, right? So it goes. And the reason is because of how it sets up the next part. But before we get to that next part, let's go in here with measures 6, 7, and 8 should sound like. Should be something like this. Oops. It's easy to sometimes make a little mistake like I did there, playing this and then forgetting to take off a finger. Very easy mistake. If you ever make one like that, it's okay. Just start over and try it again, like this. Now, after we've played the 2nd fret, we go into the next 3 measures, measures 9, 10, and 11, and they should sound something like this. I love this part. This is my favorite part of the song. I love the sound of this E minor, and the way I like to play it is my ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the 1st string with my index finger here on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Strum through all, really let that ring out, right? Now, here's what's funny. There's a couple right ways you can play this section. I'm going to show you the way that I ultimately like the best because I think it's the easiest to play. And what that is after I play this E minor, I'm going to take the ring finger, I'm going to slide it down to that 2nd fret of the 1st string, and then I'm going to make my middle finger come over the top to the 2nd fret of the 4th string, and my index finger here on the 1st fret of the 2nd string. And what happens there is I play that 2, and then add the rest of that to create that chord. And that 2, 0, 1, 2 is kind of a C chord with that melody note right here, the F sharp. But this little transition, by pivoting down the ring finger and then re-adding, I think is the easiest way to play it. Just as a quick side note, you could try to play the E minor like this, with the middle and the ring fingers, and then just move that ring finger down and add the index here, right? That's less movement. But I just find this stretch right here to be more difficult than it needs to be. I think that trying to play it like this, and then having that movement with the fingers kind of pivot on is just a little bit easier for playability. But you can try whichever way you like. And as long as you get this sound of, then you're good to go. And to continue on with this, we're gonna play open on the 1st string. Leave these fingers where they are, add the ring finger here on 3 of the 2nd string, then open on the 1st string again. Before now we switch chords, and what's cool about this switch is we just take off our middle and index fingers because our ring finger is already here on that 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Play open on the 2nd string, open on the 3rd string. And then we're gonna play that same pretty chord we did on measure 8. With our middle finger here on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string and our ring finger here on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. And we're going to repeat what we did at the end of measure 8. The same 3 and then open and then 2 with, again, we can use that middle finger there because when we go into measure 11, it starts off exactly the same as what we played on measure 9. That same beautiful E minor chord, 2, 0, 0, 3. Move the ring finger down to 2 on the 1st string, and then flip, get that 2, 0, 1, 2. Then open on the 1st string, and then 3 on the 2nd string. And this is where it's a little different. Instead of going back to the open on the 1st string, we're going to play open on that 2nd string. And that means we have to take off the fingers. It's kind of funny because you take off the ring finger and that 1st fret is still there. So I find that you got to take both of those fingers off to get that sound, right? And so this is what measures 9, 10, and 11 sound like. Again, notice that 9 and 11 repeat most of the same measure. It should sound something like this. Going into the next 3 measures, they're going to sound something like this. So I really like these three measures as well. We're going to start with this A minor, just the middle and ring fingers on the second fret of the fourth and third strings. Quick note, you just came from this, right? From the... So you can actually see that that middle finger stays on the second fret of the fourth string. You just add the ring finger on the second fret of the third string. And then I'm going to add the index finger here to the first fret of the second string. And that's in parentheses, so it's a filler note. I'm going to play it nice and soft. And then I'm going to play my D7 by taking this index finger and pivoting on it. What I mean is the index stays put. These two fingers are going to both come down. The middle finger is going to come down one string to the second fret of the third string. And the ring finger goes down two strings to the second fret of the first string. 0, 2, 1, 2. Now, this is the most important fingering of the tune. We want to make sure that we do exactly what I'm showing you here for the next part to make it work. And the next note is 3 on the second string, so you might be tempted to like add your pinky finger here or something. No, this is what we gotta do. You strum this, and then you take the index and you slide it up to 3 and play that 3 times. And if you get a little slide in there, that's all the better. It sounds even nicer. But you do have to take these fingers off. The middle and ring does have to come off, which does stunt the vibration of the strings, but it sets up this big, beautiful chord. The highest note we're playing on this arrangement. As we go into 13, we're playing this G chord 0, 0, 3 on the second string with our index, and 7 with our pinky finger here on the first string. This can be a big stretch if you've never done one like this, and that's okay. It's like yoga for your fingers. It just takes some practice to get the flexibility. If you simply cannot do this stretch, it's okay to play all open and 7. That's totally fine. But the 3, I like the sound of a little bit more. And then as we go into the next note here, you see it's 5 on the first string. You might be tempted to use one of these fingers. No, what you want to do is take this index finger, bar it across the 5th fret. Play that 5 on the first string so that we can play the next chord immediately here, this sort of C chord, by strumming through all 4 strings across 5. So this is our first bar chord of this tune. If you haven't done much with bar chords, they can certainly be difficult. My big trick for bar chords is to make sure that you get right up next to that wire and really hug the wire. That helps bring a lot more concise tone to the sound. And remember, don't just push, pull back too. It's a combination effort. And after I've played through that 5, 5, 5, 5, pinky's gonna go to 8 on the second string here. I'm gonna play that. Take the 8 off, which is already at 5, and back on with the 8. And then we need to go down to 0, 0, 3. I like to take this index and just kind of slide it down to the 3rd fret of the second string. This is a bit of a difficult movement. What I like to do is, after I play that second 8, I kind of leave it on, take the finger and start moving it towards 3. So that's ready to go. I'm going to play open on the second string, open on the third string. And then I'm going to play this E minor chord, and I like to use my index finger here. And the reason I like to use my index here is because the next note is the 4. And I like to just use the ring finger on this 4. And then open on the third string, and then 2 with the index finger. So we're just using kind of our index and ring fingers here. So these 3 measures should sound something like this. Going into the last 2 measures of the song should sound something like this. Now there's a few right ways to play these measures. We're going to start with all open though on our 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. Open on the 1st string. Now this 3 on the 2nd string, we can play 2 different ways. You can use your middle finger or your ring finger. If you want to use the middle finger, that's going to set up more middle and ring action for this. If you want to use the ring finger, it's going to set up more pinky and ring. Either way is totally fine. To make it a little easier, let's go ahead and play it with the middle finger here. Then open on the 2nd string. And then we're going to play the 2 and the 2. Now, again, multiple ways to play lots of these parts. Let's use our index here on the 2nd fret of the 4th string and our middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. A little different than how we've played it to this point. Do the rest stroke over just those 2. Then open on this 3rd string by taking that middle finger off. Then 2nd fret on the 4th string, already there with the index. Then the 4th fret, we can use our ring finger here. and then we play open on the 3rd and 4th strings before playing a G chord 0003 with our ring finger to finish the whole thing. And I say that there's multiple ways to play. If you watch my fingers here, I can go, or I could go like this. Play whatever's intuitive with this. There's not one way that's more important. In fact, it can be really beneficial to work on multiple ways. But these last 2 measures, they sound like this. And that ends this beautiful tune. I'm going to bring the camera back up. Again, if you'd like to download a PDF of this tab, as well as a high G campanella version and a low G version, check out my Patreon page. Every month I do a tutorial based on suggestions of the members, and this won this month's vote. So that was pretty cool. I ended up making arrangements for all 3 styles. And again, if you'd like to see more baritone content here on this channel, be sure to leave a comment down below. Maybe suggest a song that you think would work well with the baritone. What I love about this lesson is it really makes use of the bass strings of this instrument, and as a primarily high G player, it's been really refreshing playing the baritone and having access to all these pitches that I just don't normally have access to. And so I've really been enjoying playing the baritone. This baritone's an Oli baritone. I've really enjoyed playing it. There's a link down below too if you want to check them out. But as always, if you have any questions with this, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. And I'll look forward to seeing you next time on the next lesson here on this channel. Thanks so much. Like, subscribe, all that algorithm stuff. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.